Cumberbatch. He just said this is so surreal. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so great to see a theater full again, too. Wow, look at this. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing theatre. I first came here with a film called The Amazing Grace that I did with Michael Apted, the late, great Michael Apted, and very fond memories. My first visit here, and now this is just amazing. It's amazing. Thank you very much, everyone.
Full circle. Well, you know, congratulations to all of this stuff. You must be tired. You are so busy. You are working a lot and making all these movies. And
I'm working a lot, but I'm drinking a lot, Pete. Yeah, we play hard, we work hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes the other way around. No, yeah, I'm all right. There's a lot of stuff, I guess, that got stuck in the old COVID pipeline, but yeah. It has been quite a remarkable 12 months, let alone 20 years worth of stuff. I mean, it's hard to take stock of it. I have had quite the year.
And, what do you think when you look at a reel like that? You know, your career just passing before your eyes. What do you think when you see that, all that work you've done?
I mean, well, it's just everything kind of flatlines in my brain, to be honest. I don't think much at all. I just sit there going, holy shit. Because it's very rare that you kind of stop to look back. You know, what I'm trying to do all the time, whatever I'm doing, is be in that present moment. And I seem to have an appetite for life, and I seem to have an appetite for work. So I keep going. I don't really look back. So to do that is a novel experience. And quite a surreal one. That's the big word of the night, surreal.
It's very interesting to watch it with a crowd like this and watch to different things that they just erupt at, which is wild. You know, I know you have 3 kids, and so when you go home at night, do they erupt at you the same way? Like, oh my God.
In a very different way. They're young. There are lots of eruptions from every part of their body, but... No, Sophie led into me just now, and she went, "Oh, I wish the boys could see this." And I said, "I will make it happen. They will see this at some point." It's amazing, and you know, I don't talk too much about them in public, but we for that reason we're trying to give them as normal a childhood as we can. So they get it more from their friends that I'm Doctor Strange, etc., etc. So. But yeah, the time will come where they can either enjoy that or run a million fucking miles from it.
Your parents were both actors, right?
They still are.
And they still are, yeah.
If anyone's out there and needs an 85 or 86-year-old, they're very handsome, and they're very talented too. They're still working, Pete. They're still working.
So you were born into this?
I kind of was. And they worked incredibly hard to afford me an education whereby I'd had the choice to do anything but something as ridiculous, as peripatetic, as unpredictable, as, kind of precarious and odd as being an actor. And I kept on throwing it back in their face. And, it worked out all right, though. They're pretty happy.
Yeah, what did they think?
They're okay about it now. Yeah. They kind of
That's great. So I may be wrong, but I think you made your acting debut as Titania, the Queen of the Fairies, in The Midsummer Night's Dream when you were 12. Is that right, or close to that?
Close, but no cigar. That was my acting debut at an all-boys boarding school. Age 13, where the tradition was that because it was an all-boys boarding school, boys would play women in the Shakespeare production. We were fortunate enough to be just about evolved in the terms of doing a modern drama and having girls come from girls' schools to be girls in productions. So there was some normality, but we were kind of aping in an academic as well as a practical way the Shakespearean tradition of boy players, and it was amazing. I mean, amazing. And I went from playing Titania and just about acting my way out of a Cleo Lane-like wig with a kind of paper pineapple on the top of it to playing Rosalind. Now, if you really want to screw up a prepubescent boy, get him to play a girl playing a boy playing a girl at some point in a play. And then get the 18-year-old adults whose balls have dropped by then in an interview at Bristol University, the alma mater of which you saw my namesake Patrick in Start of a 10 wearing lots of man-made fibre with the insignia there. And that was only the second time I went to that university. But the first time I went was for an interview, and there were these two very stern-faced, brilliant academics, feminists, and they said, "So what was it like being 13, playing a boy, playing a girl, playing a boy, playing a girl?" And I thought, well, I've got to think of something really impressive to say other than, well, that was quite a long time ago, and I can't really remember. Which is what I should have said. And I just started talking, and my mind just went out the window and across the way to a little sort of terracotta pot plant with a nice red geranium on a windowsill and the sash curtain blowing in the breeze. I thought, fuck, I wish I was in that window looking at this one. And I just kept talking. I don't know what I said, but I didn't get in, so...
That's wild. Well, you went on to some bigger stage work after that, yeah.
Yes, I played Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman a year later. That's not what you mean, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, obviously, on the stage and been nominated for many awards there. Olivier Award. You played Hamlet famously. In Frankenstein, you played both roles. You played Frankenstein and the creature.
Yeah, one role wasn't enough in that one. There's a theme coming up here. No, that was an amazing idea of Nick's, the writer, and Danny Boyle, the director, to alternate the two characters. So Johnny Lee Miller and I got this amazing ride together. And it was amazing. It was amazing. There were completely different evenings, and the chemistry changed. And we thought we couldn't do it both ways in one day, meaning one of us playing the creature in the morning and Frankenstein at night, Dr. Frankenstein, because people often say Frankenstein meaning the creature. The creature is the creature. And we then did an NT Live version of it, which a lot of people saw here actually as well, which is one of the great things about NT Live. It travels theatre far and wide. And we did it in one day, but until that point we were doing it on alternate nights, alternate days, and it was the hardest, most wonderful, extraneous and strange and surreal job I've ever done.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, that doesn't come along often, that kind of opportunity, though.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
I mean, famously, Gielgud and Olivier did it, and it has happened every now and again. But it was a big deal. It really was.
It's interesting. You're what they say, a star of stage, screen, and television. Literally, you have so many credits in all of that. Do you have a favorite? Do you have something you prefer to do? Are you a stage guy at heart, or?
No, I don't really do favorites. I can't. They all feed into one another. They have the ability to offer a close-up in the widest stage possible and something theatrical inside the parameters of a close-up in a camera. I feel there's a way of focusing or being attentive to being in that moment and just trying to let something intuitive come through, just that little moment of letting something flow through you where all the work's being done and you're just letting go, which can happen in any of those mediums. And they're different on scheduling, they're different on your physiology. I mean, theatre's a very weird and odd master. You're going to work at sort of 4:30 in the afternoon and putting on your best from 7:30 until 10:30, 11, and then eating your dinner at midnight or 1 o'clock. It's a very odd body clock to be in, but you get used to it. And then, filming can be very, very segmented, very piecemeal, especially if you're doing something as big as a Marvel movie. You're just picking up bits here, there, and everywhere. But then you do a Wes Anderson film, and that's like a piece of theatre. You're doing entire scenes at a trot, not stopping. So they all mash up, they all mix up and feed one another and relate to one another and instruct one another. So I don't really have a favourite. I love them all. I think theatre at the moment is a little bit cruel for me at the moment with the choices I have for my family. The idea of doing 2 shows on a Saturday and having a day off on Sunday and then going back at it, so for the meantime, that's on hold, but I am desperate to do it because I haven't done it for a long time, not since Hamlet. Which was, God, when was that? 2016, I think? 17? I can't remember now. But a while ago.
Now.
When was it? Thank you, 2015.
Okay, of course.
It's brilliant. It's like I've got neurons in the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
You know me so much better than anything I'm going to tell you about myself tonight.
And I'm going to take you back now. I don't know if the two clips that I'm going to show first here, but when Mike, our producer, gave me a rundown of movies to choose from, I added two that weren't on that list. And one is actually that you did for television initially. He played Stephen Hawking before Eddie Redmayne played Stephen Hawking, and he was fantastic in this. And we're going to show a clip from that, but I have to ask you, what was that like there? You've played many, and we've talked about it before, but many real-life figures, and particularly some living, when you're doing it.
He was wonderful, and it was a very charged experience. It was one of those jobs where you get it, and the elation lasted for about 5 seconds before the enormity of what the job actually consisted of landed, and how important he remains to be this extraordinary icon of resilience, this mind that was just beyond so many, and as a communicator as well, somebody that was able to revolutionize a whole genre, popular science. That he really was, and I keep saying was, he is a totemic figure in the 20th century, in the 21st century. And this very particular moment of his life was the first sort of few years of his diagnosis. And I just remember meeting him for the first time. It was absolutely terrifying. It was really basically a glorified script meeting, and they kind of, sandwiched me in order to have that kind of moment. And I remember just sitting there, being almost too anxious to make eye contact. He was looking at me quite a lot during the meeting. And then finally, I looked at him, and I sort of nodded, and he just smiled at me, and I was like, oh my God, he smiled at me. It was like the smile of a newborn baby, or a pope who doesn't speak. It just felt like a blessing. It felt like something incredibly potent, non-verbal and profound. And then I went outside and had a cigarette, and then I got told by his then carer wife that he didn't like smoking, so I thought I fucked it up. But he then came on set to Cambridge a few weeks later, and I just heard that very mechanical IBM voice drifting up the stairwell where I was dropping some records and finding the motor neuron skills were already starting to go, so I couldn't get the vinyl off the floor because the purchase was difficult. And I just heard him going, very good, very realistic, well done. I was like, okay, I can retire now. It was amazing, yeah.
Well, he's right. It's very well done. And we're going to show a clip from that. And right after, you'll see a clip from a movie that I have always loved called Starter for 10. And I said, if I'm going to do this, we are going to show a clip from Starter for 10. That I'll talk about that on the other side. So take a look at Hawking and Starter for 10.